Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me today. As always, it's so lovely to have your company. And today I'm going to get straight in because we're going to have some play with some of our lovely Dinkle powders. And we're going to do some embossing and use it as a resist. So without further ado, I'm going to jump straight in, and Multifairies cardstock 6x6 is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to file that over here. And I'm going to come in with a lovely stencil, and this is the Ornate. And yes, those of you that do my workshops know it is one of my favourites. So, you know, it's my favourite, so I'm going to use it. And what I'm going to do, just before I do, sorry, you know what my throat's like. It always decides it waits till I start chatting with you and then it plays up. I'm just going to pop that under there because we're going to use Versamark. So this is our sticky ink pad. It's the watermark one that gives us a stickiness. I'm going to use, I've got a little blender that I use for my Versamark. And I'm also going to use the Wow powder, and this is the bright white. I want a white resist. Could use clear if you wanted, and in fact I'll be using clear later on. So I get those ready before I start, and I want my embossing more or less sort of in the middle. So I'm just going to dab. You can take your pad straight to the stencil. I prefer to do it this way, but like I've always said before, lots of different ways of doing these techniques. You choose whichever way you want to go, however you find it easiest. And I don't want a definite, I almost want a bit of sort of random edges to this. So I'm just going to sort of get a few here and then sort of dab around the edge. And then let's see if I can see. You can almost see the shininess where it's... My ink pad keeps jumping up. So if I look, yes, I can see where I've got. I just want a little bit more down here. Sort of this sort of shape here. What I'm going to call that today. Now my stencil, I will just wash in some warm soapy water later. I'm going to come straight in with my embossing powder. Again, if you're new, because I know I've got some lovely new crafters, put your whole tub on, you won't waste it. And I'm just almost going to knock it around a little, just sort of to get every little bit. I'm not sure how far to the edge I went, but again, we can collect it all on our copy paper. And I just give it a gentle tap. Again, don't need to be rough with it, just a nice gentle tap. And I'm just going to clean up any bits. Little flick. And I'm going to pop that to one side while I put this back in here. Really important, put it all back. And again, I give that piece of copy paper just a gentle flick. And then it all goes back in. Really important, pop the lid on. Because if you don't and you knock it over. And I'm just going to give my desk a wipe, just in case there's any little bits of powder. Just keep it nice and clean. And I'm going to heat this up, so do excuse the noise, because I'm going to use my Wow heating tool. And this is the embossing tool. So just get it warm before you start. Give it a minute to heat up. And then we're just going to go round our work. And hopefully you might be able to catch the embossing as it turns. And again, just work your way round. Don't need to waft it, just slowly go all the way round. And as I say, hopefully you should be able to see. The bit up there needs to do. Just obviously being mindful to move my hands out the way. And if you look at it in the light, obviously it's shiny. So if there's any bits I've missed, there was a little bit, look at that down there. You see, that's not quite as shiny. So I'm just going to come back in, give that an extra heat, and we're done. And this is lovely. I mean, we could put some ink on this now. We could bring our Elements ink pads in, and this area will resist the colour. But I'm thinking it's my Dinkles I want to use. So, just going to pop a little sheet down so I don't get Dinkles on my mat here. You know I'm a bit precious. And I've got my lovely puffer in case I want to move any colour around. I've got some kitchen towel. And I went for one of those nice coffees and they let you have one of these. And I'm just going to use this to hold this down. Again, just trying to keep my hands clean as possible. Tracy, I know you're the same. So, Dinkles, I'm going to use yellow. Then I'm going to come with a little bit of burnt orange, chili jam, and I may just add a little bit of sepia at the base. So I'm going to pop these on first. I'm just going to tap them so they've got a hole in the top. And I almost want to do a bit of an ombre. Well, that's the idea, but obviously Dinkles, they have a mind of their own, which is nice because I like this sort of that we never know exactly what we're going to get. And then in with my water spritzer. And like I said, I'm just going to hold my work down. And you can see already how it starts to resist the Dinkles and the effect you get. I mean, look at that. So lush, isn't it? So I fancy a bit more orange here. And then a little bit more chili jam here. And look, you see how it goes round. I just love this. So with my kitchen towel, so again, I've got my tool. So if I want to direct any, I can use this. I can direct that back up there. I want a bit of colour in this corner, so I'm just going to blow a little bit down here. And in fact, I'm just going to bring a bit of sepia down here and wet that. I just want this corner darker. And then a combination, just use my kitchen towel. I don't want it quite as dark around the edges, so I can mop up. And again, if you just gently mop up where the embossing powder is, it will just aid in that resist. If you want those little droplets there, you leave them. Again, the beauty of this is you get such lovely results and so different. Now, I've got to be honest, I love that, but I do want a little bit more orange in the middle. So just come in and you can play, that's better, add as little or as much colour as you want. And then what I'm going to do is pop this to one side to just let it dry. Because I've used my heat tool and I've used the embossing, if I use my heat tool again to speed the drying up, obviously it will reheat the embossing powder and it won't be shiny. So I want to keep it shiny. So I'm going to put that down here next to Eric, which could be a disastrous, couldn't it? Right, mate, don't move. So while that's drying, I'm going to make myself some embellishments to go on that background. And I'm going to come in with the lovely topper and the pound butterfly stamp. And I'm going to stamp in black, my VersaFine Claire, but I'm going to come in with the clear gloss embossing powder. Now I have to check I've got the clear gloss and not the white, because we've just used the white, haven't we? And we'll stamp the topper. And again, I'm using an offcut. I'm a big fan of using offcuts because let's face it, we all keep those pieces of card, don't we? But be honest with me, do you use them? Because do you know what? I know some of you don't. You know, when I moved house a couple of years ago, I found when I went to pack my craft stuff up, and this is how bad we are, I found I had 3 boxes of offcuts of white card that I'd kept, some tiny little pieces. And do you know what? So I'm determined now to start using them up. Can we fit one more over here? Yes, we can. Right, let's put the lid on the ink, very important, and then on with the embossing powder. So I do use, because I have known crafters, and again, it's lovely when we're honest with each other, who save all the little pieces, but then when they want to stamp something, get out a new piece of card. So again, we'll just give that a gentle flick, just gentle. I think I've missed a bit in that corner, so just, there we go. And then this, like we did before, will go back in here. Then gentle little tap. And lid on. And then we'll just heat these. And the reason I'm going to heat these, so just bear with me. My heat tool again. Just let it heat up. And then this is probably easier for you to see because it'll go almost a shiny black. And again, working my way around. Again, I'm just going to move it round so I don't burn my fingers. I have got a fancy tool somewhere for holding this, but it's somewhere. Now, the reason I wanted to do that, look, because we get this lovely raised, almost forms a gutter, and it's a lovely, I love the shininess anyway, but my reason for doing that is here I have the same colour Dinkles in my little pixie pots, and we're going to paint with them. But I have added this gorgeous sea blue into one of the pots as well. And I'm just going to come in, and with the orange and my Lavinia brush, I'm just going to very quickly. Now, it might be you want to cut the topper out. For me personally, I find it more forgiving if I paint it and then cut it out. But whichever way you find it easiest. And again, because we've got that gutter, I find it really helps me with my painting. And what I'm going to do is just where I've painted once, and again, this is quite a light colour. I've only got a little bit of my powder with quite a lot of water, and depending on the intensity of colour you want, depends on the mix you use. I'm going to come in with a smaller brush, and I'm just going to paint my butterflies, and I'm just going to go round the edges in orange on this one, and round the edge on this one. And yes, I talk to myself even when I'm not crafting with you. I just say I'm talking to Eric if anybody asks. And then just wash my brush, wipe it on my inky binky. Then I'm going to come in with this lovely blue now and just add some blue, just for my contrast colour. And I'm leaving little spaces at the top to almost look like highlights. I'm just going to add the band here, and then we'll come in and just add a little bit of blue to these butterflies. Now, the good thing is I have already painted these and let it dry and cut them out. So don't worry, I'm not going to make you wait while it dries. But it's as simple as that. And if you want a lovely way to add colour, the only other thing I've done is with these two beautiful metallic pens. So this is the bronze. I've actually gone round the little eyelets. And again, because you've got a raised area, because you've got that gutter with that clear embossing, it's easy to do. And then this is actually the green, but I thought the colour toned in very well with that blue look. So just added the threads on. And then I've cut those out. So I'm just going to move this very carefully, she says, bring it in and show you. So what I've done is I've got a piece of 7x7 white card here, and I've put a piece of black card. And then here's my lovely background, which is dry. We're going to attach this now. So I've popped some tape on. You know me, belt and braces. So I've just got some tape. But I'm also going to use our lovely Bippity Boppity glue, which is new, improved, in a new bottle, finer nib, but still got a difficult name. So in my head, it's still BB glue. Fabulous stuff though, the improved version, honestly. Dries clear, and look at this lovely fine nozzle. I can get right up to the edges. So I'm going to add some of that. And then, so the reason I'm just using the two together is just for my own benefit, because the card, it takes the water really well, the multifarious, but just in case it's not quite flat, it's easier for me to mat and layer it flat. But look at that background. Now think of all the stencils we've got, the masks we've got, the leaves. I think the leaf with some autumn colours, how fabulous would that be? I mean, so the glue, we've got the Bippity Boppity glue, but also we have this gorgeous silicone adhesive. Now my top hat, I'm thinking my topper, I'm going to put at an angle here, just a jaunty little angle. So I'm going to use my silicone glue for that. And I just have a pokey tool that for me, I just find it easier to spread my glue using my tool. But again, you can, maybe you have a, you know, a cocktail stick you could use. I just have this little pokey tool I got. I only bought it because I like the wooden handle. And I'm thinking that at a jaunty angle, and then a little bit of the glue. Now, I need to get my fine liner, because I just need to draw the antennae of the butterfly. So if I draw them there, then that butterfly can go on there. And then let's just think. Do you know what? Sometimes just placing them down there, draw, and then there. Obviously for me, I don't cut the antennae out. It's easy for me to just draw them on. So I'm just popping a little bit behind each wing of this silicone glue so it'll dry and they'll be raised like that. A little bit more. So the two glues of choice, and again, each has its use. So the Lavinia dries clear, goes on white, and like I say, that's for my flat work. The silicone, and I'm just going to clean the end before I put the lid on and make sure the silicone's right up to the end, and then pop the lid on. Keep it nice and clean. And that's for my 3D, my raised work. Now I need a sentiment. Now, there's quite a few on here that I like. I'm wondering, top hat, I'm thinking, and do you know what? We could actually put a little one of these cogs. We've got time. I reckon we could just slip that under there. Because it's not quite dry. And then bring in... Right, I'm going to put 12 at the top. What I'm thinking is if I put 12 there and then bring in top hat... I can use my pokey tool for this. I normally use my scissors, but my pokey tool's here. Except it's not sticking to that. I've obviously just cleaned it. Duh. Should think, shouldn't I? And what I'm thinking is top hat would just look lovely down there. And with my fine liner, I'm just going to edge it. Just to make it all look like it's all part of the plan. And then the last thing, just going to tidy everything away, and let's add some Posca splats. This is my brush, look, my Posca one that's good for splats. Now, whether it will be today or not, who knows? This is my one that's going to just give me a couple of highlights. Because we forgot to add those, didn't we? Moving back. Now, your silicone glue will take a little while to dry, but that's just because it's a 3D glue. Right, let's add some splats. Get some over the hat, I think. And again, if you're somebody who doesn't like the splats, leave them off. But I like them just over the butterfly. And just a couple here, round the, yeah. Don't want to overdo it, she says as she adds another one. Stop. And I don't want to cover up my lovely background. But for me, for a card, you know, or I'll tell you what, this would look fabulous in your journal. But if you're not sure and you're making cards to sell or for charity or for somebody who you're not exactly sure what they're into, I think this is a lovely generic design that a lot of our stamps would work with, and you could take it in so many different directions. I have to be honest, I've had such great fun, and it's just lovely to use my Dinkles this way. So thank you very much for spending time with me, and thank you for all your lovely comments. I really appreciate them. I hope you have a good week. Have a lovely weekend when it arrives. You take care. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.